Hold on. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Kamiko's Keto, where I am here with Mary Donna, the wonderful Mary Donna from my sugar addiction group, who has her own website, Mary Donna White, correct?
Yes.
YTE.com. I'll put that in the links. And we're here today to talk about vagus nerve. We're going to teach you all about the vagus nerve and how important it is for nervous system regulation and how effective some of the very simple basic exercises can be to calm yourself and to prevent yourself from having issues and with your addictions and from keeping yourself from getting active in addictions or other issues that are difficult for your life. So I was sharing with Maradona before we started recording that I'm struggling with my sugar right now. And I am looking forward to this session with you today because I think I'm going to really learn how to actively pursue the calming of my vagus nerve and to keep it in good shape. So thank you so much for being here today to teach us about this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. You know, it's important to just calm down the food noise, calm down the chatter, the mind chatter, and help the body, help the wisdom that we all have within us to be able to hear it. If we're moving really fast or we're living in the place of chronic active sympathetic nervous system, it's very difficult to listen to our inner wisdom. So let's just do a few centering and breathing and calming things together right now. So I like to start out any session I teach, whether it's with a client or in a meeting or on here on this video, with some breathing, deep breathing, and a few vagus nerve toning exercises that I'll teach you. So first, just find a comfortable seated position, feet on the floor. You have access to that. If that's not comfortable for you, that's okay. You can put one hand on your heart and one on your belly if it feels right to you, or both hands on your heart. And just give yourself gratitude for showing up today for yourself, wherever you are listening to this video from. And just breathe. I'd like you to consider taking in the breath through your nose and holding for a count of 3 and exhaling through your mouth for a count of 6. So breathing in through the nose for 3 and out through the mouth for a 6 count. And do 2 more breaths like that in your own pace. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And we're just going to do a few little vagus nerve toning exercises. They don't take very long. I have some resources for you we'll come back to. But one of my favorites is butterfly hug. So you cross your arms, your tips of your fingers kind of like right above your clavicle. Butterfly wings, what would it look like? What would it look like to be sitting in a garden, watching the butterflies landing on the flowers? What does that feel like? Giving you a hug yourself. And you can reverse your hands and do it the other direction. And what if the butterfly landed on your nose? How fun would that be? But just imagine. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe while we do this. All right. And then there's a very simple one. Hands, fingers enlaced behind the neck. Head stays straight forward. Eyes look to the right and breathe. And what will happen at some point, the longer you do this, is that you may start to feel a deeper sigh, just a sense of something releasing. Yawning is really wonderful. That's an absolute thing that the vagus nerve is, it's letting go. And then come back, eyes to center, and then keep your head straight. And then now eyes go all the way over to the left and do the same thing. Just breathe. And don't worry if you're not consciously feeling that there's this shift that I say to you might happen. Just allow whatever comes up to happen. And the more you do this, the easier it's going to be to feel that release. Bring your hands down, and then we're going to look all the way over to the right and do the same thing. Just breathe. We'll come back to center and then all the way over to the left. One side may feel different than the other side. Head comes to center. Pull down gently on your earlobes and then out to the sides. So much. It's just so much fun. So when you're doing it on your own, you may stay longer in these different positions. There's also information about this on my website, more about this on my resource section. So the next thing I'd like to do with you is a 3-minute, what Nick Ortner from the Tapping Solution calls a micro boost. And Cami will put in the chat tappingsolution.com. It's a place where you can go to get all kinds of information about tapping. The tapping points that I'm going to show you actually follow the path of the vagus nerve, interestingly enough. When I began tapping, I didn't realize that I was affecting my vagus nerve in a positive way. And there's all kinds of other information online available. I happen to like that website because they have an app that's really easy to use. There's tons of information on it. And I don't believe it's horribly expensive. I don't recall how much it is because I've had it for quite a while. So I invite you to do this. And this is a very short micro boost of peace. And yes, this is from the Tapping Solution. So we start with the karate chop point. You can do it either way with either hand, whatever feels more comfortable to you. Karate chop point. So you can either do it this way or you can just tap like Tammy's doing. Okay. So the side of your hand in this moment, and what I'd like you to do is repeat after me or to yourself. In this moment, I choose to relax and breathe deeply.
In this moment, I choose to relax and breathe deeply.
I gently let go of any stress or worry.
I gently let go of any stress or worry.
I give myself permission to feel peace now.
Give myself permission to feel peace now.
And I choose to trust that all is well.
And I choose to trust that all is well.
Eyebrow. Tapping gently on the eyebrow. I am inviting a peaceful stillness to surround me.
I am inviting a peaceful stillness to surround me.
Side of the eye. I choose to bask in this present moment of peace.
I choose to bask in this present moment of peace.
Under the eye. As I breathe gently and relax now,
As I breathe gently and relax now,
I allow all of my troubles and worries to gently float away.
I allow all of my troubles and worries to gently float away.
Under the nose, right here and right now, there is nothing to do and nowhere to go.
Right here and right now, there is nothing to do and nowhere to go.
Under the mouth, this present moment is all there is.
This present moment is all there is.
Collarbone. And it is safe to relax, safe to let go, and safe to be at peace.
And it is safe to relax, safe to let go, and safe to be at peace.
Under the arms, feeling safe and grounded right here and right now.
Feeling safe and grounded right here and right now.
Top of the head. I choose to feel peace now.
I choose to feel peace now.
The more you do this, the more awareness you will be able to have about how you're feeling. Some people don't know how to say how they're feeling, and that's okay. And especially when people are using substances to cope, whether it's sugar, flour, ultra processed foods, cocaine, heroin, pills, pain pills, whatever it is.
Also, your media, right?
Yes.
Being on media all day long.
Yes. Oh my
Gaming,
gosh. I'm glad you said that.
gambling, all the addiction
All of
ones.
those things, right? Because every single one of those things lights up the reward center in the brain. And the brain then, we kind of have a saying here in No Sugar Nation, then the neurochemicals that are supposed to help make us feel good get hijacked by substances. And there have been study after study after study using brain imaging technology and other things to show that there's a certain part of the brain that lights up called the nucleus accumbens. It's the reward center of the brain. And what happens is the more we use those substances, even if we don't consider ourselves as an addict, the longer we use those, if we use them in smaller quantities and can put them down, that's one thing. But people like me who struggled for since my whole entire life, quite frankly. I would try. I was very aware that I binged on large amounts and I ate large amounts to shove down my feelings. And I tried lots of different things. And it wasn't until I came into this sugar freedom community 3.5 years ago that I was able to have the courage to let it go cold turkey and learn how to live a lifestyle that doesn't have to include those things. It's really an interesting, so I want to call it interesting. Unfortunately, society and the way that most of us were brought up was that we equated love with food. So at every celebration, the foods were there. And that was how I know my mom and my grandmom showed me that she loved me. And we baked and we baked and we baked and made all these things. And so, oh, that's love. Well, it's okay to honor your family with your lovely cooking, but when someone has a problem with it, sometimes it's kind of poo-pooed in society. It's like, well, you can have just a little bit. And there used to be a feeling and a prevalent, and it still is actually, I shouldn't say used to be, it still is, that people should be able to moderate, have a little bit. Otherwise, you're not healed or there's something wrong with you. And that has been shown that it's not true. So I'd like to teach you some more about how to use some of the vagus nerve things and the lifestyle shifts and changes that you can make to help you when you're needing assistance and just to help you understand why there's a lot of talk right now. If you Google vagus nerve, there's so much stuff that comes up. When I was preparing this conversation, I originally presented this at one of our peer support meetings a while ago. I Googled vagus nerve and addiction, sugar addiction specifically, and I was shocked at the amount of information that came up. So I'll share a little bit of that with you. So, well, let's talk about what this vagus nerve is. Like, what the heck is this thing? So I also actually want to just say that, you could be living in flight or freeze mode even when you think you're calm. Yeah. And so we can be dysregulated. We can thinking that we've de-stressed, that we've done whatever, and still inside the body is churning. And so sometimes it takes a while for you to realize you're really not calm. You might have shifted yourself out of your very busy work day, but unless there's some conscious effort to calm the nervous system down, it just builds up and builds up. And then that's sometimes when you pop off because you haven't
I
really
think
taken
that's
care of that.
I think that's a really important point that you bring up because I so relate to that. Growing up in my family where it was kind of chaotic with 7 kids and you just never quite knew which way my mom was going to act or behave. And so there was always this kind of underlying anxiety about don't rock the boat, don't stir the waters because I saw what happened to my sister when she always was stirring the waters. And I think a lot of that's really still so deep.
Mhm.
It's 63 years old. And so I'll do things to think that I'm calming myself down, but I think in the background, it still lingers there. So I think that a lot of this stuff could really help me.
That's a really good point, Cami. Really good point. So, and trying to think your way out of this is counterproductive because you can't. When your nervous system's been triggered, the left brain mind cannot do this. This comes from a very different place. Okay. So let's just talk about the vagus nerve. And as a surgeon, you've actually seen what the vagus nerve looks like,
Yeah.
and so I'll show you this picture here. This is from, and Cami will put this in the notes as well. It's called the Vagus Nerve Deck. It's by Melissa Romano, 75 exercises to reset your nervous system. It's just a wonderful card deck, and there's so much richness in here, and I really like it. And teaches you all kinds of easy, simple things. I need easy and simple. If it's easy and simple, I'll do it. Okay, so while I'm just reading this a little bit of information to you, this is what the picture is. And so the vagus nerve, it's the 10th cranial nerve. There's a left and right side of it. It's a bidirectional highway between the mind and the body. And it's part of the autonomic nervous system, which regulates all your body system functions. So there's parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, and then there's the other side of it that is the fight or flight. So it plays a really crucial part in healing chronic stress, helps us process and maintain and manage stress, manage our emotions, stored trauma, chronic pain, and it can help you begin to live with intention when you know how to harness the power of it. Could you see this picture okay when I held that up?
Yeah, it needs to come a little higher, like closer, hold it like maybe closer to the camera or up to your
Oh,
forehead
sure.
maybe,
Okay.
and then that way you can understand. Yeah, that's a little bit
Is
that's
that better?
perfect. That's
Okay.
perfect.
All
And then we
right.
get to see how it affects everything, the heart, the lungs, the spleen, the liver, all the way down to the kidney and the intestine, the colon, from, your neck, all your brain all the way down. It's just really an amazing nerve. It's the largest nerve in the body.
It
I think
really
it's
is.
larger than
And
the sciatic nerve. It's longer for sure.
I believe it's larger too. Well, you've seen it in person. So yes. And so the vagus nerve is Latin for the word wandering, and it does wander. So it takes this long course. And so it comes out of the back of the brain called the medulla, and it comes down the sides of the neck. That's why we do the pulling down the neck, the throat, the heart, the thorax kind of then goes out along the sides of the body. One of the other tapping things goes on the side of the body, down into your abdominal cavity, right? And it hangs out down there with your abdominal organs. So, therefore, if your vagus nerve is not toned, you're going to have digestive issues, can be very challenging. So when someone's had, and we probably don't have time to go into detail about this today, but when someone's had a gastric bypass surgery, that nerve is often cut and there's no putting it back together. So that's to know that, and there's other ways that people that have had a gastric bypass, um, again, this is a discussion for a different day, can work on their nervous system. But I just wanted to bring that up because somebody might ask that, well, what if a nerve isn't there? It's been damaged in other surgeries. All right. So when it's toned and healthy, it promotes an overall sense of emotional well-being. We feel balanced, we feel safe, we feel calm, and we can experience a range of emotions. It's really important to have a range of emotions. But the more you're using substances, the harder it is to access those emotions because they are tamped down. And once the brain chemistry starts to heal, when people are off of substances, whatever that substance is for you, the brain starts to wake up. The neurotransmitters start to wake up, and then you can start to look at and process things in a different way. Vagus nerve dysfunction can disrupt the critical gut brain signals that regulate appetite, satiety, reward. That's really important. So, really, most of our neurotransmitters are in our gut. People think they're all in the brain. They're not. There's more in the gut than there are in the brain. So, if
Oh,
that
yes.
signal from brain to gut and gut to brain is disrupted, then maybe you don't even realize that you just ate and you're not hungry, or maybe you're eating because you want something to shove down your feelings, and on and on and on. We could go into lots of things around that. So, if the nerve is impaired, it can actually contribute to people wanting to binge or overeat or restrict. And then because of those maladaptive coping mechanisms for stress and trauma. So I'm just going to read to you some of the things that the vagus nerve, and specifically because this is a a platform where we talk about sugar and flour and um, how to live our lives without it, right? And thrive.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to a couple of the categories because I want to make sure that I save time to talk about the lifestyle changes that you can make in order to have a better quality of working of your nervous system and your vagus nerve. So weakened is satiety signaling. Satiety means that you know when you're full. So under normal conditions, the vagus nerve signals the brain and says, "Oh, I'm full." Because all of it has to also do with hormones and the cascade of hormones that get triggered. It's a very complex process, which I'm not going to talk about today, but just trust and know that this information it's all about hormonal function and how that is regulated by the body. It's actually really pretty fascinating.
It is.
So, yeah. And so if you're signaling, your vagus nerve signaling is dysfunctional or you have vagal resistance, then the satiety signals can be weak or delayed. And so it takes maybe larger amounts of food to feel full. So I thought that was really interesting. Intensified food reward studies show that highly palatable, high calorie foods can overactivate the dopamine release in the brain's reward centers via the vagus nerve pathways. What are ultra processed foods? What are palatable ultra processed foods? Anything in it comes in a box or a bag that has tons of ingredients in it. And quite frankly, not everyone believes that, but we do here in the Sugar Nation that the food companies know exactly what they're doing by making these foods highly palatable by adding certain things that when you read the label, you'll see something that says natural flavor or whatever. They are engineered to make you want to eat their food.
Yeah, they're also called ultra processed foods, right? Or
Right. Yep.
UPF.
Highly palatable, ultra processed foods. Thank you, Cami.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so a dysfunctional vagus nerve is like piling on top of these already altered responses to these ultra processed foods, which makes us want to eat the whole bag.
And eat more
And
after that.
eat more after that, even though you're full. And so it reinforces compulsive reward driven feeding behaviors. What's the reward? That your dopamine gets a temporary, albeit temporary, what we call dopamine hit, lights up the nucleus accumbens, which has, it's the reward brain center. And you think, oh, I need this now because I feel better. Well, the crash comes. It's not permanent. Doing something to nurture your vagus nerve can actually help that cycle and help you maybe have a different response. Disrupted gut hormones is another thing that the vagus nerve influences. Our gut hormones that control appetite. And this is also very complex. And I want to just mention one word because it's all over the media these days. Did you know that we naturally produce GLP-1? And people are paying lots of money, and there's GLP-1, 2s, 3s, more than one, but the gut naturally produces that. How? When our system is properly regulated and fed the right things. The natural regulation of the hormones, though, get disrupted if we are not paying attention to our vagus nerve, our stress, managing our stress, and all those kinds of things. This is really important. Food noise and cravings. In Nurse Sugar Nation, we talk a lot about food noise, about the fact that when we make choices to consume things that are nurturing to our body, depending upon what our bio-individual body wants and needs. And there's a spectrum of how we teach people to nurture themselves without sugar and flour, if they choose to be. What can happen is, the food noise can be so loud. I don't know about you, Cami, but oh my gosh, the food noise sometimes when I was, not going to say using, when I was using it to cope, I could not quiet it no matter what I did. I didn't know what I know now when I'm teaching you. So the
Well,
food
yeah, eating the
noise,
sugar always quiets my food noise. As soon as I start shoving sugar in my mouth, then it calms down. It's quiet for a temporary time.
and then you crash and then you go back to that vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. And so that can actually continue to have the cravings to persist and obsessive thoughts about food and not being able to feel full after and satisfied after eating. We talked about that. There is also a role, which I'm not going to get into a lot of this today, but there is a role with vagus nerve function and dysfunction, or if it's not functioning properly, there can be a role that it plays in eating disorders and also anxiety. The trauma and the stress responses, chronic stress can keep the nervous system in fight or flight. And that is not a nice place to live. It's very challenging. And even when people think they're not in fight or flight, sometimes they still are. And what we teach in our community here is that going and looking about your inner workings and your inner world and what happened, maybe that caused some of these things to be very prominent for you and having to use substances, it's a journey into yourself to look at those things. And so you can make different choices and be free of that. And so we talk a lot about that in our community. And I talk a lot about that with my one-to-one clients and my peer support clients. So it's all possible. It's possible. It really is. A better life is possible. It
Change is
is.
possible.
There is hope.
There is hope. And the things about the vagus nerve, there's simple things you can do, like just the exercises that we did at the beginning,
Mhm.
your ears and your tapping. And, those are things that you can do anywhere, any place, and quickly to get
Right.
yourself calm.
Yeah. Hope is on the menu. Dr. Georgia Ede, who is my mentor that I took my training class on how to use ketogenic nutritional therapies for people with mental health and how to help them get into nutritional ketosis. She talks about hope is on the menu. Hope is on the menu. And I love that saying, right? It is on the menu. because we have choices. We have choices over how we choose to live our life. I'm going to read you this little saying here, and then I want to mention the lifestyle and somatic practices. Every day, you get to decide how you feel, how to treat others and yourself, and what kind of person you want to be. Your attitude, your happiness, and kindness are all in your hands. Choose wisely because your choices define who you are. It's about selecting a consciousness of choice, consciously choosing, as opposed to being on autopilot like I was for most of my life and allowing things outside of me to run the show. I want to teach you, and we're going to continue doing these sessions, how to tune into your inner wisdom. And working with your vagus nerve is one way they can help you do that. Just
Amen.
a list of a few things here. So some lifestyle and somatic practices that you can use to help to regulate your nervous system. When I'm talking about vagus nerve, I'm talking about the entire nervous system and also directly accessing harnessing the power of that vagus nerve by doing tapping and doing the things that we're talking about. So we did some of these things here today, deep breathing exercises, and we did a very short breath. Can do longer sessions but if you can't do a longer session, do a few minutes. A few minutes is better than none. Your breath is always with you, right?
And that's one
Mindfulness.
of the things, that's mindfulness is what I was going to say about meditation, right? I
Yes.
work on my breath a lot when I'm working on meditation. And that's
Right.
10 minutes to quiet yourself and do some breathing exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray, um,
Mm-hmm.
is a really good thing for you to take.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes well spent.
Right. And meditation doesn't have to be sit down for an hour on, a cushion and do certain things. It can be, doesn't have to be. You can meditate by going outside. The beautiful spring here we're having in New England. Oh my gosh, the cherry trees are bright pink. I was walking this morning and I just stood beneath one and just looked and stood with that tree and said, thank you. Thank you for your beauty. There's a meditative practice to doing that and being with nature. Humming and singing or gargling. Did you know that those things stimulate the vagus nerve? So
Cool.
yeah, you can hum, you can sing, and you can swallow water, gargle swallowing water. So if that might be something you could use as a technique, we call them pattern interruption techniques. When you want to eat, pick up whatever it is that you maybe chosen that you don't want to put in your body anymore. Use some of those things for that as well. And tap in the moment. Even if you don't know the tapping sequences, you can just start tapping on your body. There's Qigong and Tai Chi tapping that doesn't involve specific things like we did today as much. Just start tapping on your body, all over your body, up, down, all around, back, front, and just sit still for a moment and say, what do I really need? What do I really need right now? Do I need a rest? Do I need to hydrate? Do I need to call a friend? Do I need to lay down on my bed, pet my cat, play with my grandchildren, take my dog for a walk? All of those things that do beautiful things for your brain. The other thing is yoga. And then I already talked about Tai Chi. That's a somatic therapy that focuses on body, mindful movement, Tai Chi and Qigong. And then there are somatic practices called somatic experiencing that focus on bodily sensations and how we shift those things. And then EFT. And there are more, but I think we probably need to wrap up.
And just to remind everyone, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique.
Thank
and
you.
that's, the tapping that we do to free our emotions.
For me, it literally has been a miracle. It's pretty profound. We do have a coach in our community, Casey, who has 2 meetings, and one meeting is just on tapping. One meeting she stays after the peer support meeting, and she will work with you individually. And that is worth the price of admission to No Sugar Nation, as far as I'm concerned, because she's really good at it and she's officially trained. I am not. I just have done it for a long time, and I've learned it, but she's officially certified. So
Yeah.
having said that, what else should we talk in our last few minutes? Cami, what else would you like to say or have us
Well, I
talk
would
about?
just like to say that I think this is a topic that we will be coming back to and addressing time and time again, because
Mhm.
the vagus nerve is so important. And, I don't pay enough attention to it in my life personally. And I'm really glad that we had this video conference together, because I'm looking forward to spending more time with tapping and breathing and, calming
Yep.
myself down so that I can be happier and more successful with my addictions.
Yes, yes. It changes your consciousness. It changes it. It changes your ability. It changes your ability to access your emotions. It shifts you out of fight or flight. Cannot make no fight or flight is what we lived in when we were ancestrally when we were running from the woolly mammoths. It was either run, it was either prey, killing prey or being the prey, right? So these things they're programmed into our DNA
Mhm.
that's what we learned. And we don't live in a society like that, that we are running away from animals that are trying to eat us for food. We do live in a society that is full of all kinds of external stressors. And so being able, and the world is a little kind of crazy right now. There's lots of changes going on, right? So I'll speak for myself, in order for me to be able to function in the outer world, I choose to do these practices. And I have a specific meditation practice that I do every day before I leave my house, because if I don't up my own vibration, keep my vibration high, and manage my own state, I'm going to go out there and I might say something that get me in trouble, or just not interact well, or not be able to be fully present. It's about learning how to be fully present for your life. It's very
Mhm.
difficult to be fully present for your life when the
Mhm.
brain is clouded with the chemicals that are in our food today, and our mitochondria are not happy. That's another discussion. We should probably talk about mitochondria, because this
I
all
love
comes
that
down to
idea.
mitochondrial health.
Let's
Maybe
do
we can do
that.
that next time.
Let's make
We
our
can do
next
that
session
next
about
time.
mitochondria. That will be great. Some people don't know about
Yeah.
mitochondria, and
They're
people
the
need to
powerhouse
know.
of the powerhouse of the cells, and they love the mitochondria love the things that we're talking about. They don't like to be bathed in toxins that we eat or that we are exposed to in our environment.
And
So that's just it.
stress,
And
chronic
stress,
stress brings on
right?
a lot of things that the
Yeah.
mitochondria don't like. So that'll be our next talk. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Mary Donna.
You're
I so
welcome. Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here and educating us and making it fun and creating such wonderful things in our lives for us to do, on a day-to-day basis that are doable, that are, that we can get
Mhm.
done.
Yeah. And I appreciate you, Cami, for we've known each other now for quite a while in our community. And I appreciate that you invited me to do this with you. And we have lots of really fun things planned. So
We do. We're going to have fun together. All right. Thank you so much, Mary Donna. And tune in next time, guys. We'll see you then. Bye.
bye.